All right, there we are, live once again. This time streaming again to the Curtis Elmore channel, whoever that guy is. Whoever he is.
Whoever.
But we're taking over for 1 hour here. We do this live twice a week, somewhere on Facebook. 4 o'clock, New York time, Sunday and Wednesday. And I will post a timestamp copy of this show up on YouTube and Twitter and Gab and Parler a little later on. And you can comment. I will try to check the comments about halfway through and see if you got anything to say. And today is the 27th day of September 2020. We are in the Florida studios today because we got news about Florida.
Yep, we do.
From my perspective, anyway. Yeah.
Okay, from here. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Happy Sunday. Just a couple little quick notices. Let's see. Hello, Emerald City. What's doing? What's happening? That's from Frasier.
Okay.
One of the things when he got Niles on his radio show. And of course, Niles is this laid back psychologist, but when he gets there, he says, "That's my radio persona."
Right.
You know? And Frasier looks at him and says, "What the hell are you doing?"
So we got new people in Emerald City.
And we got new people in Emerald City. That's
welcome,
right.
New listeners. Good to have y'all.
Good. We're building up to money, up to monetization. Won't be long now.
Yeah.
Gold, and speaking of monetization, gold is at $18.61. Silver has dropped to just under $23, so might be time to buy. I don't know. And Bitcoin holds at $10,750.
$10,750. Okay. Yeah. Well, here I'll do an audio advertisement just for the listeners. Actually, if you're going to buy any jewelry, use a place called Mene. Mene.com, and what they do is they make jewelry out of 24 karat gold stuff. And then they will buy it back from you for the weight value.
Okay.
And basically, you're getting the weight value, and just a tiny fraction of it is the design.
Right.
It's just a much better way. And if you're
how do you spell it? Mene.
Mene. I think. And
well, the beauty of it is what they're doing is. I've seen this happen before when I was collecting coins, because I knew I was going to sell them back to them sometime. But basically, I was holding the coins for them. In other words, they would sell me the coin, I'd give them the money,
right? And
then when I got ready to sell the coins, basically
you were going back to them.
I went back to them, and then they would basically buy it at whatever the price was. Yeah. The point was that they didn't have to hold them in their vault.
Oh, well, that's interesting, yeah.
I just looked at it that way. They said, well,
but you get the difference in value.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, of course, unfortunately, on more than one occasion, the difference was negative.
Yikes.
Yeah, that happened. Well, it didn't happen that much, but it happened some.
Look, it does happen, but then you just keep it as jewelry.
That's right. Then you keep it as jewelry, right? You don't have to sell it.
No.
So, okay, well, anyway, the big news, the two pieces of big news.
Yes.
One, of course, is Florida's been opened.
Hey, Florida!
Yeah, and it's interesting because the DeSantis, our governor, said, okay, he threw the doors open. He sounded,
I will kill you.
I will kill you. Yeah, ollie ollie in free, ding dong, the witch is dead, whatever. Right. Needless to say, here locally,
we will not comply.
That's right. They wrote a letter, and it was interesting because Jeff Childers, one of our erstwhile attorneys here. Great guy. He dissected the letter that our two glorious leaders, the mayor and the head of the county, whatever it was, the
county commission,
yeah, had written a joint letter to DeSantis, saying, "You can't do this. This is terrible. You're killing us. Grandma's going to die." That's right. So they have not fallen in line yet to get this done. No, but what was interesting was the comments. And a lot of the comments were from sycophants for our glorious leaders.
Oh, yeah?
And saying, yes, thank you, we bow down and scrape and kiss your shoe. You've kept us safe for these many months. You've kept us from dying of the COVID. And now DeSantis is horrible Republican, and he's our Republican, horrible Republican governor, and he has opened the gates to death and the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
That's it.
And Jeff,
an experiment in
and Jeff
genocide.
Took that letter apart because the letter was just a word salad. It was horrible, but it was interesting to see a lot of the people that came in and thought that the letter was worthy of a Pulitzer Prize. It was just, this was a fabulous letter that had been written, and a speech. Martin Luther King could not have given a better speech than what was on this letter, so forth and so on. But anyway, Jeff was funny because he dissected it sentence by sentence. He did a great job, and so it's on.
You can follow him on Facebook.
Yeah, follow him on Facebook.
He does a daily report.
On the COVID. He's been doing a daily report on COVID since for about 4 months now. And
now it's just Alachua County.
Yeah, just Alachua County, right. But it is interesting because when you read the reports, and we're going to talk about them a little bit here. When you read some of the reports, they're all fire and brimstone, and now we're all going to die. That was one of the things that have come out.
Well, look, you would expect that. I mean, in their defense, just to be fair.
What?
Yeah, well, to be fair, as we've been showing the deaths every show going back to August 30th, this week there was an uptick across the board, with I think the exception down here in Massachusetts. But if you look at these numbers and you extrapolate and do little m math, you can figure out basically how many per day. And it was 3 with New York last show, and this week it was 10. Now maybe there are rolling averages in the reporting or something, but to be fair, and we all know fall has arrived, so who knows if people will let themselves get more run down than they normally would. But we'll see.
Yeah, no, obviously we'll see.
We got
this predicting the future is dangerous because it hadn't happened yet.
Yeah. So, but you can also see right along those lines here. This is Sweden. Just a lot.
Are they dying?
Well, I mean, you tell me. This is a walk down a main thoroughfare here, and you can see it's not like there are masks everywhere. There's people sitting at chairs and tables like nothing's happening, man.
Yeah.
Like it's just a normal day. And look at people. They're talking out loud. They're facing each other. They're walking by each other.
Yeah.
That looked like a friendly wave. I don't know what's going on here.
Well, that's because they're speaking Swedish. So anyway, this is interesting, and it will be interesting to see how our local tyrants take in this, as far as they're concerned. To say DeSantis has gone rogue, and
well, it doesn't matter. He overrules them. I mean, they can. Well,
they're saying no.
They're just saying no right now because that's what you would say at first. You say not guilty when they arrest you. And then you work out the details. You don't give in right away. So yeah, you would fully expect, I got no problem with the letter and whatever. They're not going to do anything crazy. I mean, you call them tyrants and dictators and stuff, but I mean, I know Poe. He's not going to do anything that the attorney doesn't authorize him to do.
Well, aren't they supposed to be handing out fines for?
Well, those are suspended. The fines are suspended, and also, see, the problem is that now the city ordinance is unenforceable.
Okay.
Because you can't give out the fine.
Okay.
And all previous fines are suspended also in the state of Florida. If you got a fine 2 weeks ago,
it's gone. Okay, but what about can they give you a ticket?
Well, for what? No, not for any money.
Not for any money, right.
I cite you.
Right.
2 demerits, and here you are shamed.
Right.
Check this box.
I mean, can they take you down?
Points on your license. No. That's the whole point. Is at this point, the governor's one sentence order overrules all local municipalities and county ordinances, and the only exception to that apparently is they can declare, if somebody declares themselves a hot spot, then they can still enforce down to a 50% capacity to businesses.
Well, I know that we talked to
masks too.
We talked to our friend Lizzie down in Miami, and she said nothing's changed down there.
It has today.
Today.
Well, it has to have. Let me tell you something. The governor is the man. He is the man. I mean, whatever you say about the local tyrants, I mean, they are going to fall in line with this. And Pensacola filed an objection as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
And you're going to expect that, and they are all going to get calls from the governor's office.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Or the lieutenant governor. I mean, that's what you do. You put the lieutenant governor and you say, listen, call everybody up, say, no, it's down to the businesses now. You can put out an alert. You can put out a suggestion. You can say, please, for the love of God, wear your mask, do whatever it is. But you're talking to adult, free Americans who've committed no crimes. And if they want to go back to their businesses without doing that,
well, now, let me ask you this. The businesses being private businesses.
Right.
Now,
absolutely. Businesses can put up
they can
sign that says you cannot come in
without the mask.
Without a mask. Yeah, they can say whatever.
What about the government offices?
No. No.
Okay.
No, he sets the rules for all of those.
Okay,
I mean,
so
it trickles all the way down.
I've got, for instance, I have my ballot. I got my ballot yesterday, and if I walk down to the clerk's office, now it's a state ballot.
County, which is state.
State, right? I can walk in there, no mask, and give them my ballot.
I believe so.
Okay, that'd be interesting to see. I might have to try it and see if they take me down, and then it'll be elder abuse.
Right.
Okay. Oh,
well, like I always tell libertarians, you want to change the bus route. Like, don't jump out in front of the bus.
Okay.
Don't use yourself as the bowling ball for the pins.
Yeah.
Somebody else will come along. It'll happen, and then you can stick up for them. But so
you go
as your attorney. I advise you against that prior.
That's it.
Course of
always
action.
Safety.
Mm-hmm.
The big news, of course, is the Amy Coney Barrett.
Yes.
Who now goes by ACB.
Well, they're trying to rip off the...
I know, but it's
she's cool now, man.
She's cool, right, that's right. So anyway, the federal appellate judge is a favorite of the religious right.
Well, whatever.
As you expect, a devout Catholic,
talk about
7 kids, two adopters,
right,
and one with Down syndrome or whatever of hers. And so, anyway, she's done her. She's a staunch Catholic, a favorite of the religious right, and former law clerk to Justice Anton Scalia, which is really great. I think her judicial record is fairly thin, owing to the fact that she's only been a judge for about 3 years.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. That short record suggests she'll be a reliable conservative if confirmed to the Supreme Court, which, of course...
Why does that suggest reliability?
I don't know. I don't know.
They pulled that out of the air.
Yeah, no, not me.
Yeah. Listen, there's nothing reliable about... Once you appoint, it's like they go through the void. You know this, I know this. Anybody who's read Supreme Court decisions and appointments knows that they come out on the other side like a box of chocolates. I mean, it is...
Well, it'll be interesting to see because
I'm
thinking, now you're right. We've seen this happen before, unfortunately, on some really bad times. Things where you thought, what is going on here? The history does not suggest it, but you're right. When you get a lifetime appointment to something like that, there are, I don't know for sure, but I think that there have been fewer Supreme Court justices and there have been not presidents, but there haven't been that many.
Oh yeah, it's like 106 or something.
Yeah, 110. You're in rare territory.
Oh yeah.
I mean, going all the way back to the John Marshall. So anyway, during Barrett's, sounds like a gun. 2017 hearing, Feinstein, the ranking Democrat. Now this was back then because Feinstein's been in the Senate for about 100 years. Mm-hmm. And so back then she was the ranking Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee, and she just drew a distinction between law and religious dogma and accused Barrett of applying the latter, that is to say dogma, and she said, quote, "The dogma lives loudly within you," Feinstein told Barrett, "and that's a concern." And of course, you wonder, really? I mean, she's a judge, but what I'm saying is, what I'm thinking, of course, Feinstein's going to be on the thing now, this time too, for the hearings, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, isn't she one of the?
I think so.
She's on head of the judiciary or ranking member on the judiciary in the Senate. So she'll be doing the attack dog stuff, obviously, on one of her own.
Well,
girl, lady, whatever.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna fold myself. I don't see how they can.
Well, they can't get too much done. I mean, McConnell's going to limit them. He has the power to do it. Anybody who has the power is going to wield it on whatever side they're on. They're going to push it through. It's going to be. I'd like to ask a question. Okay, next.
But I wonder, is there any chance that they would try and bork her?
Well, sure, they're going to try, but they don't have the power. I mean, they don't have the numbers in the Senate to do it. They can call for a vote. They're going to call for. They're going to, like I said, they're going to do it just like I just said. They're going to say, "All right, we will now open the floor for questions for the next 90 seconds."
Yeah.
Everybody gets 1 second to comment.
Well, what they do right now, of course, is she has to go through and meet all of the senators.
Well, all the ones who will meet with her.
Yeah, all right.
Schumer came out today and said, "I'm not meeting with your man."
Oh, did he? Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
It was
no
so
bias
unfair.
On his fight.
Yeah. No prejudice there.
No.
Well, look, I mean, like I said, they're gonna probably hang their hat on the abortion thing. That they're gonna figure she's a Catholic, so she's not gonna support that if she gets the opportunity. But
I did see where Robert Reich came out, and he ticked off all the things: the abortion, climate change. She's going to rule against the Green New Deal. She's going to do all these terrible things. All the regulations are going to be dunked. I mean, all the stuff that liberals love, she's going to rule against all of those, according to Reich.
That's what you would say. He seems kind of political.
Yeah, he's really.
I mean, he doesn't really stick to economics.
No. He doesn't. He's really, but he's on a lot. I'm on his list.
I see. I end up getting drawn into commenting on his things as well because he draws crazy conclusions.
Oh, really? It's unbelievable.
But
he's kind of a good artist, though. I got to give him that.
Yeah, and I like his little presentation. You got to give him credit for all kinds of stuff. But I mean, I don't know why he just jumps on the bandwagon so fast.
So anyway, we're going to see that. That should be fairly soon. What they're trying to do is just the question is, will she be confirmed prior to the election? And I think that Trump and his crowd are desperately trying to get that out of the way before November 3rd.
I think they can and will.
I think so too. I think you're right. They've got 30 days at least.
Yeah, that's enough time.
That's enough time. It'll be close. But they're gonna call all that. They're gonna be dragging out all the stuff about Garland or what's his name. That they held that off for 9 months, and you duplicitous, hypocritical people. I'm thinking, Jesus, that's what a politician is. I mean, what are you talking about?
Well, look, it's just. As we talked about, it's not that. It's that whoever has the power pushes it through. That's the way it's always been. That's the way it always will be.
Well, they're talking about now this is the conservatives. The horrible conservatives will have decades of Supreme Court rules. Well, the thing about it is, as we said before, Roberts came in and changed his mind, basically.
Yeah, I mean, he's voted with the liberals more often than not.
So that's the kind of thing that can go on.
And also, I mean, look, the Supreme Court opinions are so detailed most of the time and so technical.
Narrow, very narrow.
Exactly.
They're. I mean, broad. If they were to overturn Wickard, for instance, that'd be broad.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And they're not going to do it.
Well, I mean, not absent some sort of emergency and some sort of urging to do it. I mean, if there was a war on, all bets are off.
Yeah, that's the problem. Of course, that's how Wickard got passed.
Right.
That was stupid. There was a war on, so now we're going to make sure you can't even grow. Now we want you to have a victory garden. You can grow your corn and carrots and everything and peas and so forth, but no wheat. No wheat.
Well, that's just it just is an encroachment. If you want to trace the growth of the federal power through all the court decisions during each of the wars.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunately now they have almost plenary power at the federal level. They could literally pass a statute, an omnibus health statute that requires us all to do things like exercise and regular checkups and own a dog. I mean, things that could be scientifically.
Well, I could just see owning a dog.
Oh yeah, well,
Mrs. Jimmy, she'd go to jail on that one.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see how her rulings go, but whatever. That's who it's going through.
Okay, next item I've got here is the big hoorah Donald Trump says the election results won't be known until after November 3rd and signals court battle predicting we may end up in a dispute for a long time. Now, Trump made the statements as he attacked mail-in voting, a method millions of Americans are using, with polls, and of course he trusts the polls showing a disproportionate share of Joe Biden voting by mail. And the fear is that he talked, first of all, he hung his hat on the fact that 9 military ballots were found in a trash can. So
yeah.
I'm thinking, there's going to be 60 million ballots in by mail or something.
Right.
And so he found 9. Okay. Hardly, and we're talking another thing about this later on about how you...
Conspiracy.
Yeah, conspiracy, right. What is amazing to me is that as we've seen so often, the secretaries of state are the ones that have to certify the results of their individual elections.
Right.
And what's interesting is a couple of things. First of all, as the count goes in, the TV stations are going to be declaring people winners.
Well, TV, what's that? Something that's a thing that people used to watch? I mean...
They're going to watch it this time.
You think?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one time that CNN and those guys, when they have Wolf Blitzer and they're walking around on the maps and everything like this, let's go back to Pennsylvania and we now have declared, CNN has declared so-and-so the winner. And they do this with anywhere from 20 to 60% of the vote counted.
Right. Well, you know how that works.
I know, but what I'm saying is they announced it then, and they put those electoral college votes in the win column for one or the other. The point being that on a lot of it is rare, although it's happened recently in our lifetime, where the results literally weren't known for days and days and days.
Yeah.
In 2000, for instance, it just wasn't known until.
Yeah, I would be surprised if somebody concedes that night, unless it's just a total blowout, one way or the other. The other person is going to hang on until all of the absentee and mail-in ballots are all counted. I mean, why wouldn't you? You have to at least wait until your statisticians tell you that an accurate count has been made.
Yeah.
After that point, a couple of actuaries look at it and they're like, yeah, okay, we counted enough to call it in all these places. Then you make the phone call, and if they don't, people they always throw around. I don't know. It's been 2 or 3 election cycles. People are saying the incumbent won't concede, but they will, and if not, the Supreme Court will step in and make some kind of a ruling. If there's any ambiguity at all, or too many missing ballots, or somebody calling for a do-over, or whatever it's going to be, the Supreme Court's going to step in and be like, nope, it's so-and-so. And...
Yeah, of course, I was upset that the Supreme Court stepped in 2000. I thought they shouldn't have.
They did. They overstepped their bounds. They expanded their power. But that's because, look, in all honesty, the Florida Supreme Court made a crappy decision first.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, so we got a crappy decision on the one hand, and now they made a second crappy decision to undo the first crappy. It was just like, that was craziness. But they've set the precedent for being able to do it. And the court, I think, is more powerful than it's been in decades from the standpoint of people's acceptance of the court to simply rule on their own personal concept of their constitutional grounds.
Well, this is what they're all panicky about, because with what's her name, they're
yeah, but see, usually conservatives are more reluctant to rule according to their own personal.
No, I agree, but and that's true. But the panicking, what they're panicking about is, since they're worried that she's going to rule on her inside,
right?
And have the incumbent, the Donald, who appointed her,
right?
And then she got okayed within 30 days,
right?
And now it goes to the Supreme Court,
right?
And what's she going to do?
I don't like that guy. What did he ever do for me?
Yeah, what did he ever do? Wait a minute. I got 40 years on the court, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to be here a lot longer than he is.
Well, look, and at this point, Trump has appointed, 3?
Yeah, this will be the 3rd.
So, that's powerful in terms of like you said, payback. There's nothing more powerful than feeling like you owe somebody. So, but as we've talked about before, Roosevelt got his way. He was
in there for 16 years, though.
Right. He had appointed 8 of the 9 at that point. So.
Yeah, amazing. And you saw what happened there. Let's see. So
It'll be
anyway,
fine.
the point is that there's a very real possibility that we wouldn't know on the evening.
But we will know by January 21st.
Oh, for sure. Oh, no question. Yeah, right. We better know before January 21st.
Well, I'm just saying that's the deadline. If they could deliberate, they could have hearings, they could have cross hearings, but at no point will they push it past that. They won't set it past that.
I don't think they can go past the middle of December because that's when by law, the Electoral College has to meet and vote.
Okay, well that could be
It's
it
by
as well.
law.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that they will take that long. I just said that. No, I like that. I like that theory. I mean, that they wouldn't leave it past then.
No.
So
By law, they are meet in Washington. The electors from the Electoral College meet and vote. And of course, in some states, of course, they tried to do this before. You don't have to vote for the people.
Right. Yeah.
Well, bullshit. You try and go against that, you're going to be. There was one or two people that did it and got pilloried for it. That voted against.
Right.
But when you realize that we've got 23 electors, I think, that go from Florida.
Okay.
And isn't it winner take all? So
yeah.
So if Florida goes to Trump, he got 23 votes right there.
Yeah.
So anyway. But I'm thinking that there's no way on this planet it's going to go past the middle of December.
Okay.
And
yeah, I'm with you. It's not going to be long anyway.
no, it's not. And
There's not going to be any constitutional crisis or any bullshit like that.
none of that. Nothing. No. There's going to be a lot of hemming and hawing and screaming and jumping up and down because of there was
Crying.
yeah too bad yeah. Now one thing I've also moving on. Let's see 416 go to. Okay, the other thing is we're talking about another item. This has to do with Breonna. This was the girl that was shot.
Right.
A Kentucky lawmaker who proposed Breonna's law to stop no-knock warrants is arrested along with 24 hours for rioting in Louisville as it's rocked by a second night of unrest and BLM mob occupies a church for sanctuary after the curfew. Now, what's interesting, as I've always said, if you got a law named after a person, look out. It's BS. It is because the jury, shall I say, every jury on the planet is still out on what happened there, on her getting shot up.
Right.
And the fact is that the rioting is because the grand jury refused to indict two of the guys, and two of the people who were involved, and at least one of them was the one who shot her, however many times. And he got off. But the other one, the one that's fired 14 shots into the air, he indicted him for reckless endangerment because some of the bullets went into the apartment next door or something.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing is that this is the same thing that happened when you look at they drag out the stuff when all the evidence is finally in. And it turns out that, sure enough, there wasn't malfeasance. Mm-hmm. There wasn't reckless endangerment on the part of the cops. But boy, they still.
Well, they very well could find that still. I mean, that's.
You mean as a civil thing?
No, as a criminal thing, reckless endangerment, firing at the wall of.
No, but he's been indicted for that.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so that goes to trial now.
Right.
Okay, but the other two were not indicted.
Right.
So
nothing.
No trial, no nothing. That's what they're all upset about is at least one of those two guys killed Breonna.
Okay.
And of course now they want to stop, and I kind of agree with this though. I think that what they're saying is other witnesses said that there was plenty of knocking, plenty of we're here, plenty of it's the cops.
Man, I'm not
open
buying
the door.
That. Yeah. But look, it doesn't matter even if there was. As we said before, I mean, the no-knock warrants need to go. They need to roll it back so that there is knocking and that kind of stuff, and you take the chances on the exigency of the disposal of the evidence.
Okay.
Like they're not going to get everything in 30 seconds.
No.
And so then also, if they just didn't have the drug war at all, we're waiting for that bill to come through. Apparently, the House right now in September, it was supposed to come through. That we talked about, Nadler's bill to make marijuana, take it off Schedule A.
Yeah.
Or Schedule 1.
Schedule 1, yeah.
So, fingers crossed I mean, that's really, if you want to assign some blame in a way that is unfair, it's the whole concept that the drugs are illegal. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, you look at Portugal, for instance. They pretty much and they're they haven't had any overriding thing.
Yeah, I haven't
But a
checked
little
the
tiny
numbers.
country, and they speak a foreign language anyway. So, anyway, it turned out this article was that this lawmaker, I forget, Atticus Scott. She was a Kentucky Democrat who proposed Breonna's law, was arrested in Louisville, and she was arrested for rioting or something. They had the they're going to get everybody for rioting when you have a demonstration after curfew, and they all ran into a church for sanctuary, and they said they arrested some people. They arrested a bunch of people anyway. First degree rioting, I like that. Wait, is there second degree rioting, third degree rioting?
Probably.
I mean, first degree rioting.
There's everything.
I mean, that's really horrible. But could we knock that down to second degree rioting?
Well, that's what you say. Exactly. Well, look, it all depends on stuff like property damage and levels of property damage and how directly involved you are and what the riots eventually, what happened if anybody was put in danger and stuff like that. I mean,
I noticed that there wasn't the usual catch-all of resisting arrest.
well, that's good news.
Yeah, I mean, apparently she just take me in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there has been unfortunately, some crazy backlash. Law enforcement. I mean, I think those two lawyers that firebombed that cop car are facing like up to life in prison for that.
Really?
Yeah.
And were the cops in it?
No.
So
No.
in other words, they firebombed a car.
Right, that was already actually damaged. It was, they drove by and did that. Well, I mean, I guess that maybe the theory is that there could have been somebody in it. I don't know.
But the question, I'm asking this question. What if you just happen to, let's say your car is parked out there on the thing,
Right.
and somebody firebombs it. Is that life in prison?
Well, if there's somebody in it.
No, nobody's there, it's parked.
Oh, yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. If that's all it is, then I don't think it should be. I mean, it could be. There could be some bootstrap. I mean, our laws are that tough. Our laws are tough enough so that you could theoretically get life.
Well,
in
they
prison
do.
for that.
If you, for instance, they've done here when our guys are on horseback. If you touch the horse, you've touched an officer. That's battery. You
Right.
go to jail for that.
Oh, sure, battery on law enforcement.
I mean, battery on law enforcement.
Felony.
Huh?
Felony.
Felony,
Can
totally.
be. Now that can be a misdemeanor also. Now they have de-escalated it a little bit, and they
Well,
do.
but my point is though, if you the crime goes way up if you do anything to law enforcement, like the dog or the horse.
Sure.
You do anything?
Well, you want there to be protection for the people who you have to employ to protect the law. I mean, that's a tough, it's dangerous position, so they need extra protection. I don't have any problem with that. I don't have a problem with the qualified immunity thing. But
Ooh, I do.
they could change the no-knock warrant thing. They could end the drug war. They would cut the interactions by half. If the self-driving cars come in, again, there goes another half. I mean, we could be down to 25% of current interactions and defund the police by 75% with just those two major changes.
Yeah.
But but that's not going to solve. I mean, the economic thing is the big thing. But
Yeah. Okay. The next thing is it Tuesday? Is it Tuesday or Wednesday that the debate?
well, it's supposed to be Tuesday. Do you really think it's going to happen though?
I don't know. Now, I thought it was. Wait a minute. Is it October? Is it October 3rd?
No. Well, October
It's Tuesday
3rd
a week. It must be.
Oh, maybe so.
Yeah, it's Tuesday a week because today's Sunday.
October 1st is Thursday.
Yeah, so it's not then. It's got to be either the 3rd or next week or the week after.
Well, the 3rd would be Saturday or
Saturday?
yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Saturday.
I don't know. Whenever it is.
Mm-hmm.
It says here, Biden is aggressively, quote unquote, preparing for his first debate stage matchup with mock sessions. And one of the things, a couple things I saw, that they feature an advisor playing the role of Trump.
Mm-hmm.
The guy is named Bob Bauer, who is playing Trump. He was a senior Biden advisor and former White House general counsel who's been playing the role of President Donald Trump during the sessions. Interestingly enough, Trump has decided to skip all formal presentations.
No.
Yeah, he said, he says, look, my frequent and often contentious interactions with reporters are all I need.
Right.
And that's right. I mean, he knows all the questions, but they pounce on him every time he has one of the things that if you want to have some fun, because it's still on, one of my favorite.
Oh, shit.
No, don't shit me.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you it's West Wing.
This show brought to you by West Wing.
That's right. And
Aaron Sorkin, you owe us some money.
Oh my God, you should too. I'll tell you. About halfway, I think there's like 7 seasons of West Wing. And about halfway through, he runs for re-election.
Yeah.
And so they have a thing where they have the mock asking the questions and how are you going to answer and everything. But they went through the whole thing. And one of the things you have to realize is...
Let Bartlett be Bartlett.
Well, no, that was early on, but...
okay.
but that was way on early. That was really great, though. That was only about the second or third show.
That was when he was running the first time.
Right, the first time, right.
Okay.
But what was great about this was people don't realize the number of people that were insiders. O'Donnell and some other people that were total insiders that helped writing on the West Wing.
Sure.
I mean, they were real embedded people that were involved in this. They're all out of the Clinton administration and so forth, and they did this. So it was. I thought that when you look at that and see the way they do the mock debate business, it's got to be real. But now, unfortunately, this debate is going to be like the game show where they put people in some kind of silent booth, I think, and turn on somebody's mic or I don't know how they're going to do it. It's all they're going to do it by Zoom or something. What? But here's the question: is it going to come off?
Yeah, I still think the odds are better than 50% that it's not going off.
It's interesting because you know who disagrees with you?
Scott
Adams.
Yeah.
He came on, I believe it was yesterday. Mm-hmm. He said, here's what he said. It's going to come off. Either the Biden advisors are going to hold their breath and see, because the bar has been set so low for him. If he doesn't just completely goof up everything, they're going to say he won. Okay, and if he does goof, then
they replace him.
Then they replace him, right?
But they can't do that. See, that's the thing. They've got this momentum, and they're riding on the polls, which show Biden up by 10. When you're up by 10, you don't take any chances. You put a lid on it every day.
Then?
Huh?
Why is he even going to do it?
He's not. That's what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying.
What he's going to do is
we're going to find out.
He's going to put a lid on it for the next several days.
Speaking of lid,
and then what he's going to do is he's going to come out and he's going to say, after consulting with senior Democratic officials, we've decided we are not going to indulge Trump any sort of debate because he's just not going to. He's not going to be fair, and he's not going to do it right. He'll be uncool, or whatever it is. And Nancy has already come out and said that Joe shouldn't debate.
Right.
You don't think they're on the same page in some way?
Yeah.
They are, and the page is, you're not going to debate Joe, but you're going to fight it up until the end. Okay. He's going to be like, well, I said I'm going in there, but then they said, no, don't do it, Joe. And so I said, okay. And that's how I'm going to lead the country. And
we will find out this in about a week and a half, won't we?
Yeah, no, I don't know. That's my prediction, and I'm always wrong. So
no, that's your prediction, and you're sticking with it.
Yeah, right.
Okay, we're going to find out, and maybe somebody will write in and tell us what their prediction is. Is there going to be that? And that, fortunately, this is a binary. Either there's going to be a debate or there isn't. So
they could have half a debate, and then he runs up.
So no, not going to happen. One of the things, as long as we're talking about West Wing,
okay,
I learned.
Still talking. Go ahead.
I'm going to talk about it. When I watched it, I learned a word, which apparently has come out today that has now finally entered the vernacular. Do you know what a lid is?
Well, a couple of them.
Okay. Well, what in political parlance, when the person who is giving the speaker, not the speaker, but the girl who comes out and gives what the president said today, the
speech,
the
transcript.
No, they have a reporters roundtable every day where the reporters ask questions of the representative, whether whoever it is. come on, who's the speaker person that comes out and gives...
Look, I have no idea what you're talking about. A lid is something you put on a jar.
I'm going to tell you what it is in just a second. First of all, I'm obviously failing here. Who is the person, the president's spokesperson that comes out every day and answers questions from the reporters?
I call that the president's spokesperson.
Okay, there's a name for this person, whoever she is. Or she is.
The press secretary?
Yeah, press secretary. That's exactly who it is.
Okay.
The press secretary every day. And what the press secretary does is at the end of it, she says, okay, folks, that's a lid. And she walks out.
Okay.
It turns out that a lid is and I found this from West Wing, when what's her name said that's the lid on it or whatever. That means that there's no more news for today.
Okay.
We don't ask any more questions. Put a lid on it.
Okay.
Now the other thing about a lid, and I mean, I thought it is very particular to the press secretary.
Okay.
She's the one that puts a lid on things. So. So the Democratic nominee is sticking to a strategy, keep a low profile and let Trump light himself on fire, it says here. But my point is that the other thing that I always knew a lid was the amount of marijuana that would fit in a mayonnaise jar. We called that a lid.
Okay.
In the old days.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Back when you were a marijuana dealer?
No, I knew some people that were, I'll tell you that. It was interesting.
Uh-huh.
There's some.
They had mayonnaise back in the 18 whatever?
Yeah, and not only had mayonnaise, but they had mayonnaise jars. And they're the same size they are today.
Uh-huh.
Next item I've got, breaking news. A man 41 is jailed for a year after hosting 2 huge parties and breaking Maryland's COVID-19 rules. This guy, Sean Marshall Myers of Hughesville, Maryland, was sentenced to 1 year in jail and 3 years of unsupervised probation, which I guess if you caught doing something...
Right. It means you don't have to report in every month.
Right. He was convicted on 2 counts of failure to comply with an emergency order in March.
Mm-hmm.
And the governor had implemented a state of emergency and large gathering order that prohibited meetings of more than 50 people. Well, this guy gave parties in his house of 60 people. Somebody ratted him out, and they came over, and on March 22nd and 27th. Now, back then, in Maryland, there had been 12 COVID deaths.
Okay.
I don't know how many people had just, but there had been 12. So they came by apparently on the 22nd and warned him. And they said, if you keep this up, we're going to, charge you with something. So a week later, he had another party, 60 people, and they showed up, and so they, as far as they were concerned, had been arrested for repeatedly violating the executive order and banning large gatherings.
Right. All right. I'm going to stop you right there for 1 second, just to give a legal notice to our listeners. Here's the deal. No matter what you're doing, if the police come by and warn you to stop doing it. Okay, I don't care what you think your rights are. What they're telling you is that they're going to do something about it. And you don't want to be there when that goes down. So this guy obviously was. When the worst thing you can do is not respond to the warning that you get from the law enforcement.
The first time they came by, they disbanded.
There you go.
Everybody went home. But a week later, he had a party again.
Man, it's like you see people go in front of the judge the second time, and the judge is not happy.
Well, they didn't go in front of a judge.
Well, I'm just saying.
The first time. They had a warning.
The judge is the next level of intolerance for your lack of response to the prior warning. When a judge gives you a half-decent sentence as opposed to giving you the max, it's because they expect you to reform your behavior. If you come back having done the same exact thing,
right, then
you're going to get slammed much harder the next time.
Well, I thought personally, okay, I understand. I suppose I get that, but
look, it's excessive. It's probably unconstitutional. But I just wanted to be clear, like, when you get warned, you got to be respectful of that. It's just you just have to. I mean, you just look assume.
Or else you're going to do jail time.
Right.
I mean,
right.
and of course, if you're accepted with that, like if you get sitting on the front seat of the bus,
right.
and they arrest you, you're going to do jail time.
Exactly.
I mean,
it's coming.
and you're willing to do it.
At some point, when they're coming for you, you know what to expect. But it's unfortunate for whatever. He's Florida. Woo!
Yeah, we're out. Well, what I thought was interesting about this was this emergency had been declared when there were 10 deaths in Maryland.
Okay.
Seems a little.
See, if this guy hadn't had his party.
Yeah, I know.
That he cut down on the whole.
Yeah, right. Okay.
He probably killed a lot of people.
Probably did. Well, that's what the governor said. I cannot begin to express my disgust towards such irresponsible, reckless behavior. Let me repeat. If you are engaged in this kind of activity, you are breaking the law and you are endangering the lives of your fellow Marylanders.
There you go.
State and local authorities will continue to take aggressive enforcement action as we work to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
So what's kind of interesting to me is that the whole idea was never to prevent the spread, it was to flatten the curve. So that you didn't overload the hospitals.
Right.
No, you were still going to have the same number.
Right.
You were still going to have all the number of deaths and infection and everything, but it was going to be spread out as it has been over the last 6 months.
Right.
So he's going to jail. And I guess, whatever. Interesting. Next item I've got.
Okay.
Facing a critical fire danger, Pacific Gas and Electric prepares to shut off power in Northern California. PG&E prepares to shut off power in response to a critical fire danger. Pacific Gas and Electric may cut power to 97,000 customers.
That's not very many.
This weekend. Huh?
That doesn't sound like very many.
No, I know. Unless you're one of the 97,000.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
Duke Power serves like 7 million people.
Oh, I know. And I'm sure PG&E does too. I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Guaranteed. Still, it's what if you're one of the.
They've been doing the rolling blackouts. Is this just a continuation of that, or what?
No? Apparently, they're going to shut it down completely. I mean,
you mean for like
who knows?
Like
they didn't say
get your own for a month or something, until the fire danger recedes. Or
well, that's one of the little minor problems. Is when is it going to recede? The simple fact is that because of the failure in California to do normal forest management.
That's what you're going with?
Huh?
I said you're going with that? I mean, I
am, absolutely.
Okay.
And the simple fact is when you see or even around here, they come out, and when the trees grow over the power lines and everything like that, they come out here, they trim them back. Even if it's on your property.
Yeah. Well, we have controlled burns around here all the time.
We have controlled burns around here all the time. And the fact is but as you know, for decades, literally for just about my entire lifetime, I don't know when Smokey the Bear came up, but it was in the 50s or probably, if not before. Only you can prevent forest fires. The whole idea was prevent forest fires. And in fact, especially in California, especially in those trees that are out there, those 2,000-year-old trees, the fires have been going on forever. And what you do is you destroy by not letting Mother Nature cure itself, fix itself, do whatever. You do this sort of thing, and then of course in the meantime the population in the last 30 or 40 years of California has like doubled or whatever it's done, and people are building their homes out there in the wilderness. I mean, what do you expect? So
I don't know enough about forest management to speak authoritatively on that. I mean, I've seen the articles. I mean, and look, I saw one thing which Scott Adams messed up on. He said, remember, he said he had a map of California, and he could see the fires, and they went right up to the Canadian border, and then they stopped. And he was saying that clearly shows that the forest management in California sucks, and it's better in Canada.
Well, the little minor problems with the map.
Well, right, and so, but my point is that if it is a forest management problem, then we would see those types of discrepancies in places. I mean, you would be able to, it would be some sort of artificial line, because it would be a new jurisdiction, a political jurisdiction, and so
you want to see that?
Well, I think you could probably look at the satellite if you had.
This is one of the, let me just tell you this. If you look at the island of Dominica, which has the Dominican Republic and Haiti, divided down the middle.
Yeah, yeah.
You look at that satellite picture.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is brown. It is destroyed on the Haiti side, and forest green, everything you can imagine. It is right down.
Entirely different.
Entirely different.
And I would imagine that
North and South Korea too.
Yeah. Now, see, unfortunately, there's not too many borders up there, and the states that are around there have similar policies in terms of their forest management approach, I'm sure. But I don't know, maybe we can a listener who knows something about forest management tell us what they think. But
I think it's been. I've read a lot on forest management recently.
Really?
Yeah, I have. In the last 20 years, there's like a big fire that was in Arizona that woofed down a whole bunch of stuff, and they realized that's when they started to really realize, maybe 20, 25 years ago when this big fire came, that had been the problem. They had in fact not cleared out the underbrush for these many years, and actually what you see on this kind of stuff, I mean, you can go down in places that have been where they've allowed the fires to burn, and you see some of the bark and everything, it's kind of singed, and the tree's alive, everything's fine. It's, it's just...
Well, look, I mean, some places got wiped out last year, obviously, Forest's Place and everything, but here's the way that I'm looking at this whole forest situation and the power situation in California. If they were not centrally controlled things, if they were not controlled by the California Central Authority, and they were instead divided up among private entities, then you would have them compete with different methods. And one of the methods would probably be better than the others, and then the others could emulate the good method. So what I'm getting at is, I mean, if you had local power companies around there, and you had local forest management entities, as opposed to statewide things.
I don't know. I think there's other things that are involved, and one of the things that
look, you don't think a business could guarantee you, like, look, I'm going to guarantee you're going to have power. I'm going to make sure that these things are.
No, there's never a guarantee. I mean, you can't. You couldn't guarantee it around here. I can tell you.
Well, you could, yeah. Look, think about it. Let's okay. So you start a power plant, and you charge X prices, and you make sure that your shipments are coming in, and you have battery backups or something. I mean,
when the lines go down, when a hurricane comes through here, the lines go down.
Well, I mean, it would only be guaranteed up to a point.
Right.
But no, how about this? How about we didn't put our damn lines through the damn trees? We put them underground, so it doesn't matter that the hurricane came through.
Well, except for the fact, little minor problem.
The ground shifts around here?
No, it doesn't actually. We're one of the few states that's never had an earthquake.
No, well, I mean, we get sinkholes.
Yes, we do. But be that as it may, what the little minor problem is when you go from the generation power plant to the where you see the all the transformers and everything, like there's 1,000 transformers out there. That's all up in the air.
But that's today's design, and that's the.
You're not going to put those transformers underground.
You don't know what they're going to do. They can put it in a bubble or a dome or something, or in a balloon and float it up above. No, God, look. Here's the thing: the free market finds solutions to things, and if people need power and safety from fire out in California, then it should be farmed out to entrepreneurs to find solutions. You got to have Elon Musk up there taking a look. And he would do it, except he's probably barred from doing it.
I wouldn't doubt that. But we don't have to get into the free market.
Well, I'm just that's my 2
blah,
cents.
Blah blah whatever. We're coming here to the end. Let me just see here. I've got some hyperbolic stuff. I saw where New York viruses. They shot up over 1,000. It's the first time since June. And how was your lockdown? And everything. How'd that work out for you? Apparently.
Well, but the counter argument there is obviously, look, if we hadn't a lockdown, it would have been 2,000.
Okay.
And they did have a spike in deaths, as we just showed. So.
Yeah, they did. The next thing I've got is that's kind of interesting is The Rock.
Yeah.
The Rock has announced he will proudly vote for Biden and Kamala Harris.
Why is that news?
And because he has over 30 million followers.
Yeah, and look, I love The Rock too, but I'm not going to vote the way that he votes. I love him because he's a movie star,
yeah.
And an athlete from my school.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't give him any voting clout. But he was named as a potential presidential candidate 6 months ago.
Really?
Oh yeah, people were talking about actually vice president. They were saying he should get with Oprah and have an Oprah and The Rock ticket.
Okay.
And I guarantee you, they were sat down by some serious players and said, "Here's our plan for you." And Oprah and they were like, "Nah, we're good making our millions and doing whatever we want to do."
Untold millions. I mean, isn't Oprah a billionaire?
Yeah, there you go.
So, okay, let's see. We talked about this. Did we talk about the fact that we talked about the election might not be over. The big news deal they're talking about is that Trump has said he's not going to accept the results.
Well, you know as well as I do, that was just another reading of what they want to read into what he said.
Hyperbolic.
And he's trolling people.
He
also.
is. He's totally trolling.
You know, he knows he could have said yes to that question.
I'm not. And he talked to Mike Wallace apparently this morning. He said, "Hey, I'm not going to say yes.
Look, he's just stoking the fires.
He is.
If you're a Democrat and that gets your goat, he's doing it on purpose.
He's doing a great job. Okay, let's see. The next thing I've got here, one of the last things I've got, the New Jersey state legislature, coming late to the party, passes a ban on paper bags, foam food containers, and plastic straws. Now, this is great. The state's assembly on Thursday, it banned LPE, whatever plastic bags are, because they're the ones like we get here at Publix.
Yeah.
The kind you get at the grocery store. It also bans the alternative, paper bags.
Cool.
Yeah. That markets that are over 2,500 square feet, which is like, I mean, I don't know, but I think the 7-Eleven is 2,500 square feet.
Yeah, that's probably what it's designed to exempt.
You get the 7-Eleven, you can have those. That's
right.
it.
Not a big 7-Eleven.
No.
One of those supermarts.
Not one with a gas station next
to it.
No bags for you. So here you are at a Huawei or one of these places here that's got like 18 gas pumps and a store.
Well, they provide. Go ahead.
And a store where you can go shopping.
Right.
So you go in there and you're supposed to bring your own bag.
Well, that's what I was about to ask you. What didn't they provide some alternative?
Yeah, you bring your own bag. It says right here.
Okay.
It says what they've done is they said in an attempt to get shoppers to bring their own bags. The same bill also bans polystyrene clam food containers and makes plastic straws only available upon request. The ban would take place in 18 months after it's signed, and any business violating the bill would get a warning on first offense. Cops come by, warning, oh, here you are, followed by the second time a $1,000 fine,
beating,
and then a $5,000 fine, and then the thing on the cross.
And then you get rolled in the jail.
You get raped.
Thing on the cross, right?
So yeah, crucified. Okay. The ban on paper bags is critically important to the success of this legislation, says the president of the New Jersey Food Council. Without a ban, customers will simply move to paper single-use bags and will not address the underlying goal of reducing our reliance on single-use products. I mean,
the boobs don't know what to do.
That's exactly right. They'll just move on to something else more convenient.
Select the correct choice.
You terrible people.
These are just shoppers.
That's it. You need to bring your, and of course
we are the elected.
You need to bring your own basket, and of course maybe they'll get around to, if you walk up with a straw basket. I remember one of the things I really liked in France, of course, was those the net bags.
Okay.
I thought they were great fun. Because the net bag, it folds up to something about this big, and it'll hold just about everything. But
yeah, they've been doing it for a while over there.
Yeah, they have. Well, last time I was over there, they had ruined them. They had made them now out of something else. It used to be the net bags were really net bags, and they were really good.
Oh, you mean somebody had a better idea for what to carry over there and how to bag your stuff? And they decided to help everyone make the correct decision with the law?
That's right. Well, they did do, I will say one thing. They apparently had a plastic bag epidemic in Ireland, and it was starting to clog up a lot of water or something around Ireland. So
look, that's always the claim. Is that
right.
Look, if you look
it's always the straw up the turtle's nose. I mean, that's the only thing they ever show up there. Is here's a turtle with a straw up his nose. And I'm thinking, look, the turtle's doing cocaine. So what do you know? You're going to ban
That's a bad turtle.
It's a bad turtle.
Doesn't
that's right.
need protected.
That's worth showing. He's taking a little sniff of toot there, whatever it is. So.
Well, look, I mean,
I just thought this is another
we're
ridiculous.
still under plastic straw ordinance around here.
We are, and I've gotten to the point now. You know, in my thinking is that I take my plastic straw in with me.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
just bought
a really
box.
nice one because it has a bendy on it and everything.
It's just so idiotic that we have to bring in a utensil into the restaurant.
Yeah, and it's amazing. I mean, it is truly amazing that I have to bring in my own straw.
That's right, because they're worried about the effect on the environment, which of course I would have think that all of our waste would go into a landfill around here.
It does. It does, in fact.
So it doesn't end up in
No,
the great
it doesn't.
garbage
The fact
patch
is,
of the
look,
sea.
the United States, as far as plastic in the ocean, is responsible for like 2% or something. It's all Southeast Asia, for God's sake. It's not us.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there, and I would be surprised if it's that high.
Yeah.
And certainly plastic straws is.
Give me a break.
Yeah,
I just.
But hey, styrofoam clam things.
Yeah. Oof. Well, it is interesting because we do get a lot. We have a lot of styrofoam clam thingies for doggy bag has been relegated to the styrofoam clam things. That's
right.
for sure.
That's true.
I did notice though they found a way. The market always finds a way around when they're going to be pissed off about it. But they do have a very plasticky straw now.
Yes,
made out of
biodegradable.
Biodegradable. It's made out of some vegetable something, and I mean it feels like and drinks like real plastic.
Yeah.
Now apparently it dissolves, but it doesn't dissolve in your drink.
Right.
That's one good thing. You know the paper ones that they have, those will dissolve in your drink and after about 10 minutes.
Yeah,
but
before you drink it.
Before you drink it, right? As you drink it, right? But apparently somebody has found an acceptable. Well, that's good. You know, I guess.
Well, we'll see. We'll see two things. Number one, is it going to leach some carcinogen into us because of this? You know, and you guarantee that the rulers will take credit for it for inspiring the new development.
That's right.
With the
well, they do that. They've done that on the cars. You know,
right.
the pollution and everything. And one of the things people don't realize is that since the 70s, or since the early 70s, the amount of emissions, horrible, carcinogenic, whatever it is, emissions pollutants coming out of the tailpipe of a car decreased by like over 90%.
Yeah.
And so they want to go down another 90% from that? What are you talking about? I mean, you want to be able to, here's the deal. You want to be able to go down and sniff your exhaust pipe, I guess?
Yeah, man. Water. Well, you saw California all electric by
2035.
That's it. So it'll probably go that way. I mean, the internal combustion is a clunky, what?
Get out of town.
No,
I love it.
Too many moving parts. I mean, relative to what you can do with electric. I mean, it'll just be easier to stamp out the electric ones before too long. I mean, as soon as they get the battery power to a certain level, and we're close. I mean, Elon and them had battery day the other day, but unfortunately they're not there yet.
I did see where one of the Korean guys, Hyundai or one of them, has decided to go in competition straight up with Elon.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, there's a bunch of right now the market has Tesla owning everything.
Yeah.
In a few years, and
yeah, no, it's not going to happen. No, and I'll tell you, I remember in the 70s when Apple came out, and Apple, was going great guns, and in 3 years they went from nothing to huge, owning a lot of the market. And when the IBM came out in 1981. At $6,000 or whatever, Apple took an ad out and said, "Welcome to IBM." Well, they regretted that one because it was about a year or two later that the IBM PC, that ilk or whatever, basically owned the market.
Moved in on them.
Yeah.
Well,
well, the reason for that, of course, was that Compaq cloned the BIOS, and then Microsoft had not given IBM exclusive rights to PC DOS. They said, "Oh, we're going to sell it ourselves." So that's what happened basically.
There you have it.
If you ever get to see a movie about cloning, you should go see a movie called Paycheck.
Okay.
It's a great movie. It's about a guy. This is what they did. What Compaq did. They went into a sealed room, the engineers, and they basically reverse engineered, with no outside interference, locked room, couldn't go to the bathroom for however long it was. And no, I mean, seriously, whatever. They fed him through the slot in the door or something.
Right.
And whatever it was, and they reverse engineered the BIOS. That was the only part that you couldn't, And then Compaq came out with their own and they're basically 100% compatible with the IBM. They tried to sue. They didn't, because they had done it in a clean room and could prove it.
Right.
That's when everything took off. So it was great.
Well, I see. Okay. Well, I was wondering why that was important. This entire industry though hinges on the battery situation. I mean, if they get a battery, and the thresholds they're talking about achieving, even with today's battery technology, are good enough. But you've got. And speaking of good enough, he's the guy who's working with Musk at this point to try to improve the batteries. John B. Goodenough, the guy who invented the lithium-ion battery.
Yeah.
And also some other super technological thing that basically makes cell phones work. And
God, I remember growing up with carbon zinc batteries that would last about a minute, and they would leak all over the place, and just unbelievable.
And there are scientists everywhere working on this right now.
Oh,
because, look, and I heard one theory, I mean, I don't know where it is in development, but a carbon nanotube battery. I mean, an entirely different structure from the ground up.
Yeah.
And, that's the kind of leap that if we get, could be a game changer in a...
Well, the other thing, though, that as you know, this is the same thing that happened with the internal combustion, were the stations. You had to have gas stations.
Well, but see, this is what I'm getting at. Once the batteries get good enough, you just put the battery in there and you drive for 500 miles without ever recharging it or something.
But then you have to recharge it.
Okay.
I mean, you're not going across country. 500
miles? I mean, look, it could get to 10,000 miles. I mean, it could get to something where it's the life of the car, basically.
Well, I think that's a way off. But I think
it is a way off. But I mean, that's where it's going.
Right. Okay, could be. But right now, you'll notice, for instance, that the internal combustion engine does not go more than usually 1,000 miles or 500 miles. It just doesn't, because there's gas stations everywhere. So the question is,
unless you had a Jaguar.
Pardon? No. Yeah. Well, the other thing though is, I suppose, that part of when you pull into a motel to spend the night, who's going to drive more than 500 miles a day anyway? Generally speaking, you pull into the motel and you charge your car. That's part of parking.
Well, but of course, if the car can drive itself and you can just put the seat back, then a lot of motels won't need. I mean, you won't need to stop.
We don't really know, do we? The market's going to figure all this out.
Look. Here's what we know. I mean, there's a market for not having to be the one who drives. And there's a market for not having to stop, because then you don't lose time. So there'll be cars out there that it's just a bed. There's no seat in it.
You gotta go to the bathroom, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I mean, you can sleep through 12 hours. You pull over or whatever. So, I mean, what?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you could still pull over, but if your car could go, well, you're right. I mean, at some level, I mean, more than
you got to pee.
Well, and you're saying you could charge up during those stops anyway.
Maybe. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, so it doesn't maybe behoove you to have a battery that lasts longer.
Well, I can see for a while. It was interesting in the early car days, in the teens and 20s, there were electric cars, there were steam cars, and there were internal combustion cars. I mean, they were all
everything was better.
Well, they were all competing there was serious competition. Now, one of the things that you might find right now, for instance, I would be reluctant to get a strictly battery-operated car unless it was my second car, number one. But I don't mind having a putt-putt thing to charge the battery while I'm driving.
Right, like a hybrid, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's the ultimate future of it, but I don't know.
We don't know. We're speculating. Yeah. We're speculating, and we're not the ones with our money on the line. The investors are the ones that are going to make these decisions.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, the market will actually. You can invent anything you want, but if nobody wants to buy it, I mean, you could put together another really nice electric Edsel.
Okay, all right, we're over time.
I'm done.
Yeah, me too, actually. So, whoops. Let's see. All right, thanks for joining us, everybody. We really appreciate it.
And we'll be back on Wednesday.
Let's see, where's this?
See, 27.
Outro music somewhere here. Oops.
So we're back on the last day of the month.
Oh, nice. That's right. All right. Thanks, Kevin MacLeod, for hooking us up with these tunes. We appreciate it. Check out my book if you want to figure out how to solve the current problems around here. And it does a good job, I think. So, there's our Bitcoin stuff. One of these days I'm gonna have to check that. All right, we'll see you soon.